Hey everybody, this is Kyle. Today I'm going to be talking about learning how to sing while having asthma and some of the things I did really wrong and how I eventually got out of the hole I dug for myself trying to learn on my own. Early on when I was trying to learn how to sing, I made a huge mistake, and this was something I did for months, if not for a couple years or more, is I'd use my guitar and play a note and then sing it. Which, at first glance, not knowing anything about singing, it's like, oh yeah, hey, there's a good idea. The problem was I expected my voice to act like the instrument I was playing with my fingers. And that led to a huge amount of frustration over time. The way you use your voice when you speak and the way you use your voice when you sing, it's different. The way your body resonates, the tones you get, and things like that. Because I always get like, hey, Kyle, dude, you are super nasal when you speak. Yes, I am. And when I sing, I don't have that as much. Now, when I was first trying to learn how to sing and I had no idea what I was doing, yeah, it sounded bad. It sounded real bad. Real bad. A friend of mine, he is a high school choir teacher, and he said, hey, let's do an exchange. You can give me guitar lessons, I'll give you some vocal lessons. The first time we got together to do our exchange, I learned a whole lot because he picked up right away that I knew absolutely nothing. I didn't have any muscle memory. I had no foundational training in using my voice as an instrument. And he taught me some basic vocal exercises. He called them roller coasters, where you take vowel sounds like ah, e, and o, and you go low in pitch and you use your chest register, as it's called, and you move into head register. You go ah, and you do all this stuff and try to even out that move when you jump from chest to head. And learning how to do that helps your muscles develop so you can use different registers on purpose, and your tone starts to improve and you start to have more control of what you're doing with your voice, and then that leads to having control with pitch. I think we only got together twice. If I remember right, it was near the end of the calendar year, so right as holidays started to hit and you have all this other stuff going on in life besides, things you're trying to do, there wasn't a whole lot of available time. This time of year, and right now in the St. Louis area, it is wintertime right now as I'm taping this, and for me personally, I have asthma. It's not like super bad asthma. I do have a rescue inhaler, but it is bad enough that, and I don't know if saying bad enough is a bad way to say it, the bad vortex with Kyle. I should put that in a title. What led me to get to the asthma part is after meeting with him, at the end of the year, I would work on these exercises daily. I was feeling pretty comfortable with what I was doing. I quit taking my guitar and playing different notes and things and trying to sing that. I realized learning is a process. You have to work on something, and not always can you jump in and acquire something. You need to spend a little time getting the fundamentals and develop some skill, and then anything in tandem with those skills like talents or whatnot, you need to be able to have some sort of control of your skills and apply them in just the way you want to. This time of year, I always thought it was because of the furnace being on, cold weather outside, everything's dry, you come inside, you have this heated air that's dry. I thought that that's why I was always short of breath and would wheeze, and I went to the doctor, I want to say sometime in January, and which was a month or two after we had our lesson exchange. And the doctor said, you're wheezing. And we talked about a history of asthma, and I always thought it was associated with pollens. And the doctor said, actually, I think I need to put you on asthma medication. As I got on this asthma medication, I had air and could sing and stuff. So that was I felt awesome, and then it took a lot of just practice and trying to be very targeted when you practice different things and getting better. The way I sing is very breathy because of the asthma. It's funny that there's a song that I wrote called Breathe. And the idea for that song came from talking to my parents. My dad one time told me, when you sing, you're very breathy. I'm like, Dad, I have asthma. This is kind of funny. So the song Breathe, I have a lyric video for. That's the idea behind that song. Even though in the chorus I'm talking about Mama said breathe and using that as like advice for life, that when you get stressed out, you just gotta breathe and soldier on. But actually, that song comes from my dad. It's like the classic football story from, I don't know, 70s or 80s, whenever it is, that a father helps a son do all this athletic stuff, get a scholarship, get on sports team, and when they show the person on TV, what does the player do? It go, "Hi, mom." It's like one of those type of things. Something I do before a show is I'll take a puff on my inhaler hours before I go to play, especially in the fall, in the spring when the pollens are pretty heavy. Uh, in the wintertime, it just kind of depends on the place. A lot of times, if I go indoors somewhere, then it's not that big a deal. If I'm going out of town, I always try to hit my inhaler once a few hours before I go and perform, because especially out of town, I don't know what the air is like. I don't know the local plants and things, and that seems like a strange thing to think about. Like, hey, I'm going to Wichita or I'm going to Lexington. What kind of plants you guys got there? What kind of fungus and pollens are in the air? I mean, I know some of that stuff is kind of universal, but some of the stuff is very regional. And the last thing I want to do is get on a microphone and have my nose start running and then not be able to breathe, because it is going to be a fight for me to try to sing and do anything using my voice for that whole time while being at that place. It is interesting if I'm somewhere, most places near the city, there's no indoor smoking. Some places outside the suburb kind of area, some of those places still have indoor smoking. And it's interesting that really doesn't bother me for whatever reason. Grew up and my mom smoked for a while as I was growing up. She stopped after a while too. For some reason, the cigarette smoke doesn't bother me as much. It does make my eyes start to burn and different things. And if I'm somewhere where it's smoky, whenever I go home, I can feel it in my sinuses. If I don't take a shower that night and let the hot air, the water vapor, go in my sinus and stuff, it's like someone just kind of smeared some stuff. It's like, hey, here's some smoky smear. Have that for you. It's like my sinuses are a sandwich and that's a jar of stuff. I don't know. Is that a good description or not? Leave me a comment. Something else I do, it's not really related to asthma, but thinking about seasonal things I do, is use zinc spray from the fall to sometime, I don't know, sometime close to spring, whenever it starts to not frost so much. Zinc spray really helps me de-gunk. I'm a very gunky guy. Zinc spray really eliminates a lot of that feeling of like, I need to clear my throat. That feeling that makes you want to do that. Zinc spray, at least for me, helps. So to sum up, learning how to sing, if you are dead set on learning on your own, then you really, really, really need to do some research and find a starting place. I can't recommend enough finding someone that knows about singing, someone that can really help you, because using your body as an instrument is entirely different than going to a store, buying an instrument, having someone set it up, tune it, show you how it goes together, and send you on your way. You're born with your body. Entirely different game when you go to use your body as an instrument. If you're like me and you have asthma, talk to your doctor. Talk to somebody that can treat your asthma. Get it treated. Make sure you have air, because you need air to sing. If anybody knows of a singer with asthma that gets by, I'd be interested to hear how they deal with it too, because it's something ongoing. As always, if you see something creative online, make sure you click like. Support music. Nothing helps as much as people following, leaving comments, and maybe just taking a few seconds to say, hey, I care just a little bit, a little bit.